the reason you guys are all here is for our speaker. So we are joined live by Heidi Carlisle, and she is at the Intermountain Bird Observatory, Boise State University's Lucky Peak Research Station. So she's going to take us a little bit on a tour of the facility there on the mountain in the middle of Idaho, which is fantastic. And today we're going to hope to catch some raptors and understand why, when, and how they migrate. Maybe get a few up close to the camera, see them, get a chance to weigh them and more. It's always exciting joining Heidi. Thank you so much for joining us. And let me demute your mic and you're good to go.
All right, so hi guys. Let me first say that we are sitting in a little box on the top of a mountain. It's called a blind. One thing you have to do if you're trying to catch raptors is you have to be quiet when they come in because you don't want the raptors to know we're here. So if at any point I just stop talking, it's because there's a raptor nearby that we might catch. So while we were introducing the classes, we actually caught our first raptor. So you guys are in luck, which is awesome. So I'm here with a couple scientists, so maybe I'll introduce you to the other scientists who are on my team today. You can meet them, and then we'll meet this little falcon that we just caught. So let's see, can we do this? So we have Nick here. So I heard some of you guys are from Canada. So where are you from, Nick? From Canada?
I'm from Ontario too, from Sunderland, which is north of Kitchener and Toronto, up near Oshawa Whitby kind of area.
Awesome. And then here's Jay. He's here in Boise. And then we have Eric here, and he just brought in our first raptor. So we're gonna have Eric band this kestrel. So I'm probably gonna flip the camera around so you guys can see, and I'll show you kind of step by step. Oh, and maybe we have another raptor coming in, so I'll have to be quiet while I do this. Okay. Flip this around. Okay. So, I'm gonna zoom in, Eric, sorry. Of our little kestrel. And we just caught another bird, so you guys are bringing us good luck. So you guys can see, sorry if you guys can't hear me, but Eric is deciding what size band to put on the kestrel. So he's picked out a band, and he's going to use the pliers that he has to open the band. He's going to make it kind of a C shape so that he can put it on the leg of the bird. And then, oh, there's a lot of raptors around. Sorry, guys. And then he's going to put the band in the pliers, and that hole allows him to close the pliers around the leg without touching the leg of the bird. So the band fits a watch or a bracelet, so it can spin, it can move up and down, and feels really comfortable on the leg of that bird. So you can see how those holes work perfectly to close that band. And this band has a 9-digit number on it that allows us to catch again, or if catches this kestrel, we'll be able to read that number and know where that kestrel came from, when it was captured. We'll be able to see how old it was when it was first caught, so that can allow us to figure out the lifespan of these birds. And so you guys can see Eric's recording on the data sheet. One of the first things he's recording is, of course, the species. So this is an American kestrel. They are the smallest falcon in North America. And so they're related to birds like the peregrine falcon, which you guys may have heard of before. We're also recording what time we caught the bird. We're recording the date. So we can look at our time through, and actually this year we're catching fewer kestrels than average. So it'll be really interesting at the end of the season to look at the big picture and see, you know, what was going on. Why did we catch fewer kestrels than normal? Other things Eric's going to do is he's going to take some measurements of this little kestrel. So one thing we do when you guys go to the doctor's office and they measure how tall you are, we can measure the length of the wing on the kestrel and the length of the tail to get an idea of size. And you guys can see the kestrels have very sharp little beaks, And so this kestrel is trying to bite Eric's fingers while he's trying to measure it. So something we have to do is learn how to safely handle the birds to keep the birds safe, but also to keep ourselves safe, because with raptors, they have a few different adaptations that they can use, usually to hunt their prey, but so when biologists are catching them, they can use them on us too. So in a second, we'll zoom in. Once Eric measures the tail, we'll get a look at this kestrel in a little more detail. You can see this is a male kestrel. So there, yeah, nice, thanks. So male kestrels have that beautiful blue color on them. They also have this all orange tail with tip on their tail. So they're one of the few raptors that you can actually tell male versus female just based on their feathers. Most of our other raptors, we have to look at other characteristics like size to be able to figure out if they're a male or a female. Talking to Jesse and Joe about planning for today, we had a really, really high wind forecast. And so we actually thought we weren't going to catch any hawks for you guys, but we have this American kestrel right here. And then we also just brought this little sharp-shinned hawk. Let me see if I can show you guys his little claws right. So he's calm. He won't be able to see us right now, so it's kind of a relaxing place for him to hang out and wait until he gets his band. Oh, and maybe there's another bird. We're looking outside. Might catch something. Nice. All right. So we just caught another sharp-shinned hawk.
Wow, these guys brought the mojo.
Nice job, guys.
You brought good luck. We were worried.
So 3 hawks when we thought we were going to catch 0. So you can see Nick just ran out. We use a trap called a bow net, and it has a really soft mesh net that flips up over the top of the hawk when they come into the station. So Nick is getting this little hawk out of the net, and then he'll bring it back so you guys will be able to see it closer. So we're checking out the tail on this kestrel. One of the things we do with birds is we try to figure out how old they are. And we can do that by looking at their feathers. So young birds at this time of year have feathers. Oh, let's see. Interesting. And kestrels are tell if they're adults or young birds. So we're looking to see if it's growing any new feathers. So this is kind of like you guys might have a mix of grown up and baby teeth in your mouth. And some of you might be growing in new teeth. And so we can look and see if birds are actively growing in any new feathers, and that can tell us how old they are. So this time of year, it's all the adults, it's all the grown-ups that are actively growing in new feathers. And I don't see any new growing in feathers on this kestrel. And I don't think, do you see any, Eric?
So far, I wonder if this just looks like it might fight the, might be beating it up a bit. Because
Yeah.
the shaft color is the same.
You guys can see the face of the kestrel. And then, so we also have this sharp-shinned hawk waiting to get banded. And then Nick has another sharp-shinned hawk. Awesome. So you guys can see we hold them in these little cans, and you can see how calm this bird is right now. See if he's in there. So this is how we can hold them so that while we're getting ready to band them. All right. So some of the other things we are looking at on these birds. Oh, good. Oh yeah, so this kestrel has some baby feathers on its chest, mixed in with grown-up feathers. So that's a great way for us to be able to know that this is a young bird. So that means it was hatched. Oh, Jay has another bird. That means this bird was hatched this summer, so it's only a few months old. Jay sees another sharp-shinned hawk. And he just caught it. So Nick's gonna run out and go grab the sharp-shinned hawk. Nice job, guys.
Best bird day ever.
Yeah, this is cool.
Seriously.
is
so
way
much
more
better
than we thought.
expected.
All right.
So let's at least pull out a sharpshin and have them side by side so you can see its
Oh, yeah.
comparison before we let
How
them
many hand this kestrel do you?
Yeah, sure.
And
We'll do really what we do.
Is that from you?
What the fuck?
All right, so I'm gonna flip my camera around.
then
Sorry, I'm probably making you guys really dizzy. So
push that next time.
Nick's gonna come in this door. So we have this little American kestrel here. And then we'll show a comparison with the sharp-shinned hawk. So you have a, oh good.
This one's right here.
So here's our kestrel and our sharp-shinned hawk. So you can see the kestrel that I'm holding has all dark eyes. And that sharp-shinned hawk has really red eyes. Ooh.
They match each
Um,
other.
The kestrel, I'm not sure if you guys can see, but kestrels have very sharp beaks, whereas sharp-shinned hawks, they have, well, they also have pretty sharp beaks, but they have very sharp feet. So the hawks are using their feet to catch their prey, and the falcons are using their beaks to catch their prey. So here's a little look at this falcon. You can tell it's a falcon because of that dark eye. Falcons also have those dark black lines coming down below their eyes. So it's kind of like a cheetah has those dark lines as well. We think that the reason birds have those lines is actually almost like built-in sunglasses. So if you've ever seen people playing sports, like maybe a football player, and they marks on their eyes to keep the sun out of their eyes, the falcons are able to do the same thing. So they have those dark marks to help absorb sunlight and make it easier for them to see in really bright light. You probably can't see, but inside this little kestrel's looking at me instead of the camera. In this kestrel's nostrils, it has two little dots. And those dots are little cones inside its nose holes. And that helps it, falcons have this adaptation so that when they're flying really fast, they can still breathe. If you've ever stuck your head out a car window and the wind is blowing really fast, sometimes you can't even suck air into your lungs. Makes it hard to breathe. But falcons have this adaptation so that they can breathe even with really strong winds. It's actually the same mechanism on the inside of jet engines where they have a cone inside. It helps suck air into the jet engine, and falcons have that right built in on their little nose. So is this one ready to fly? Its weight and everything?
I can call.
All right. So I'm gonna give this little kestrel a toss. So maybe I'll turn the camera around again. Might make you guys dizzy again, sorry.
You gonna step
All right.
outside? or just
Yeah, does
do-
that work?
Yeah, go for it. I'll just.
All right.
Sure.
Mm.
So he's gonna show it off to them.
All right. So we're gonna give this little kestrel a toss in the air and let him fly off back into the wild. And there he goes. So one bird down and two birds to go. Three birds down. So we just let that kestrel go.
It's a male. It's flying right up in front of us.
You guys will notice that we don't keep these birds very long. So these are wild birds, and our goal is to collect as much data from them as we can. We take measurements, we figure out how old they are, we check things like their fat to see if they're healthy, and then we release them. So it's a pretty quick process, but it gives a lot of information about migration. And what we're seeing right now is a lot of raptors moving through because winter is coming. It's fall right now, and so a lot of birds, raptors and otherwise, are flying south for the winter. And we're perched up here in this blind, so you guys can see we're in this little box, and we're on the top of a ridge that is running north to south. And the birds are flying north to south. So it's a really great place with a high concentration of birds because of that ridge. So what we're seeing, and maybe I'll turn it around and show you guys, what we're seeing is we're facing north, looking up, and there's this ridge to the north that you guys can see. And they see it quietly. But we're hoping to see birds traveling on this north-south ridge because of air currents. Raptors like to soar during migration. They don't use their energy. And so we often see raptors soaring on the wind currents along this ridge. And we're hoping that as they come in, they pass us by and hopefully come into our traps. So you can see Jay is pulling some strings because he sees a hawk. In catching the hawks. Kind of like you would use a fishing lure to catch fish, except our pigeons are protected. So there's nets surrounding them. So they're not getting eaten like a worm that you use for fishing. They're actually surviving. So they're used to lure the hawks in over and over again. So Jay, those pigeons, and hopefully that flapping of pigeons flying will attract hawks in for us to catch today. So that's what trolls and sharp-shinned hawks have come in for a pigeon or and they free meal, but they hit a tree instead. So we'll see what is up to with this sharp-shinned hawk. So you guys saw the other sharp-shinned hawk we held up earlier had red eyes. This one has kind of orangish eyes, almost like macaroni and cheese colored eyes. And we can tell that this sharp-shinned hawk is an adult because of its nice blue-gray back and then orange chest. But we suspect that this is a young adult because of its eye color. So when they're really young, they have yellow eyes. And as they get older, their eyes turn red. So this one is kind of in between. All right, so we're going to check. Maybe 60%? Okay. So what we were just doing is taking a measurement of how much food is in the crop of a bird. So birds are different than us. We just have a stomach. Birds have this thing called a crop that's in between their stomach, or in between their mouth and their stomach, where they can hold food. And this little sharp-shinned hawk, while we're weighing it here, this little sharp-shinned hawk has some food in its crop. So it has recently eaten probably a little songbird. So sharp-shinned hawks are specially adapted for eating songbirds. They have these really long tails. You can see the tail. Oh, nice. So we're looking at, there's some tips on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at this bird. I don't know if you guys can see, but do you guys see there's that old brown feather and then there's the new blue-gray feathers?
Yeah.
So this old brown feather is from when this bird was a baby last year in the nest. So because of this mix of feathers, we can say exactly how old this bird is, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Try to turn your camera on the pigeon.
Okay, Jay says that there's a bird coming into the pigeon. You guys can see the pigeon flapping.
It's not. Okay, watch the dove.
Okay, we're gonna watch right there.
Here we go. Watch the dove.
There's a flapping dove, and then there's a hawk coming in. Nice. Cool. Can't believe we got that on video. All right, so Nick is running out to the bow net. You can see the hawk narrowly missed the dove. We flipped that trap over to protect our dove, and we caught the hawk. And I was watching on the camera. I couldn't even see. Right, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna try flipping my camera again. Wow, we're just having so much activity. I have to keep changing the camera. This is nuts. So I think I started to tell you guys, I thought that, well, we all thought that we wouldn't get very many hawks today because there's a big storm coming. We have a storm coming in this afternoon and it's gonna last until tomorrow. We are starting to think maybe these hawks are in a rush to get out of here. Is that what we're thinking? So it's very, very windy today and we think these birds know that a storm is coming and so they're ready to just get out of here. So there's a lot coming through right now.
And it'll be much more windy tomorrow.
And it's gonna be a lot more windy
So,
tomorrow.
Worse conditions tomorrow.
So here's this little sharp-shinned hawk looking at me instead of camera. So the sharp-shinned hawk is looking around at me, but you guys can see those nice orange eyes. So it is a young bird. Nice. Nick here has a Cooper's hawk. A mad Cooper's hawk. So you can see how he's specially trained to hold this bird by its feet so that it can't hurt him, and it also is safe for itself. We're working to serve these birds, so we're trying to study them and help. And so, of course, as scientists, we want to make sure that we're really well trained so that we're able to handle these birds safely. So yeah, now hawk is looking around and showing you guys off. So I'm okay to let this one go, Jay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool.
We'll call him.
Hey,
Right.
Watch. How about another release?
I'm gonna step out of this box. You ready?
We're ready.
Okay. Give her a little toss. Oh,